actually concentrate on just probably 2 or 3 things this week. Not a lot in the macro sense. Not that there's uninteresting things going on in the macro economy, but I just thought so many things are touching the venture capital world and the technology world that it'd be worthwhile pressing on those couple of points. First, as Ken said, I was at the Kleiner Perkins holiday party. I really like that one, mainly because it's often attended by sort of the old guard, right? Not just the up and coming and kind of the great unwashed of the venture world, but more of the people who've been around 10, 20 years, that kind of thing. Unlike, let's say, some of the other parties that are up in the Bay Area, where it's more sort of the up and coming younger folks. But what I noticed this year versus last year, more than anything, was that excitement in the room that comes from people feeling like good things are coming down the pike. And really, it centers around all of this activity in the new e-commerce space. And whereas last year there was a lot of talk about when is the financial crisis going to end, and is the country going to get out of the a recession and whatnot, this year it was about all of the pending IPOs. And I think that is going to be something that we're going to see in a big way next year, with all of these giant businesses that are coming down, from Facebook to Twitter to Zynga, Skype, of course. I don't know if they'll make it out in this year or next, but it'll come pretty soon. So the thing that struck me, by the way, was how many iconic companies are about to go public or have risen up in the public consciousness. And for me, it's those iconic companies that generally allow a whole bunch of other smaller businesses to either get acquired or to launch into a new sector. So if you think about it, and I haven't seen this in such a long time, in the new models in telecom, right? Skype is really the leading iconic company there. New models in media. So Twitter has really changed, of course, the landscape.
$4 billion valuation.
Maybe $4 billion, right? But they haven't taken it yet. Right. New models in gaming, right? Which is a very big and long-established market with Zynga, casual gaming. Now sell it for $1, make your money on virtual goods, as opposed to storefront retail of $60 for a piece of package software, right? And now e-commerce. E-commerce was that sector during the bubble that once it burst, everybody thought, what a sham, right? Look at these companies. They were selling dollar bills for 40 cents, you know, the pets.com and those varieties. A company I was involved with, eToys, just became kind of pilloried as just backwards, a backward sense of how business should be run. And now we have Groupon and Guild Group. And suddenly there's super excitement in e-commerce again, around the same amount of excitement that I saw when eBay went public. And keep in mind, when eBay went public, and this is why the Groupon valuation may not be out of the range of reasonableness, it went public at about $1.2 billion, $1.3 billion valuation. And within about, I think it was about 6 months or 9 months. What's that, Ken?
Hold your microphone down just a little lower.
Lower?
Yeah.
Okay. Within about 6 months, maybe it was 9 months, the valuation had increased around 25 times. And, excuse me?
Lower.
Oh, even lower.
Toward the floor.
You're actually really, you're loud today.
Right. Well, by the way, I only hear in one ear, so keep that in mind. And I hate this room because the acoustics are bad, so I'm glad everybody can hear me. So if you consider 25x was what eBay went up after its IPO, and that was a company that's very similar in many ways to Groupon, in the sense that it enabled a whole new group of people who weren't on the web selling to figure out how to do it and do it simply. I think that's what Groupon has done. They have tackled the toughest nut to crack, I think, in business, which is how to profitably serve small businesses, how to acquire them as customers and how to serve them. Whether or not their model is sustainable, whether or not they have the network effect that eBay had, where you really had to be there or you weren't going to sell much, I don't know. And there are, as people say, 100 or so new Groupon competitors. But they have shown that, once again, in commerce, there's new models that can achieve very rapid growth. And I think there's one other thing about Groupon that excites me as an investor, and that is they've gone from this company that didn't exist 2 years ago, 3 years ago, to one now presumably doing $2 billion in revenue. That's what's been reported, and I don't know, by the way, if that is the transaction volume of commerce or if that's what they're netting, right? And that's a big difference. I presume that's just what's flowed through their system, and then they take a piece of that. So their actual net revenues, you can imagine, are much lower. But still, the fact that that much commerce can go through a company that didn't exist 2 years ago is really exciting. So my belief here is that it is going to, Groupon is going to unleash a whole lot of very interesting new developments in the venture world. You're going to have a lot of investors saying, wow, they achieved $1 billion valuation in about 12 months after launching. So once again, there are great paydays to those who invest early. So you will see what we've seen already in 2010, which is this